So, I was sitting at a desktop computer, scrolling AOL Instant Messenger away messages, and listening to Death Cab for Cutie MP3s, as was the custom at the time. Some of you may know. Behind me was a waterbed that I'd received secondhand at least. It leaked so frequently that I had a roll of duct tape dedicated to patching it. I was days away from graduating from college, and I was just a couple weeks into the aftermath of a breakup, my first big breakup, my college girlfriend, Eve. When we met, she was young, cute, blonde. We bonded over bagels and books, wordplay, and cute animals, all the things that young love needs. But after 2 years, it just wasn't working for us anymore. I was about to leave and go to grad school. That was a choice I was making with my life. She still had some college to do. She was getting set up with a new apartment, and we were just trying to figure out, what happened in this relationship? What was good? What was bad? Which of our friends are we losing or trading? I won't name names. And what else was there to figure out, right? One of the things is that I was looking back on those 2 years and wondering, what had I promised Eve? Well, for one thing, I'd promised her that someday we would live in the White House and adopt a Portuguese water dog. I've been beaten to the punch, and I don't feel good about that. Some of the other promises were a little more simple. And so, on that afternoon, when I found myself scrolling through AOL Instant Messenger, I noticed something up from my friend Melody, one of my first friends at college. The away message said, "Hey, my roommate's cat had a litter of kittens. Is anybody interested in adopting any?" Now, we can discuss the politics of not spaying cats after the show, but bear with me that cat had kittens. See, one of the promises I'd made to Eve was that someday I would get her a kitten. So in that moment, I thought to myself, aha, an opportunity has emerged. I could get her a kitten. How am I going to do this? I knew I needed some buy-in from her, so I kind of ran it past her. And in part of this, I was checking myself, like, why am I doing this? Am I trying to get back with her? Am I just making sure that she has a new cat for her new apartment? Is that a thing that people need? Or did I just want to make good on something in all this? So we went over to Melody's apartment and met the cat. Cat's plural, I suppose. And Eve picked one out. Prototypical cute kitten. Brown and gray and fluffy and very expressive eyes. And she named the cat Charlotte, after her hometown. Cute, good name for a cat, nothing weird about it. And from there, life progressed, right? Eve took Charlotte to her new apartment. I moved out of town. And we were just trying to find the new rhythms of what it meant to be exes. And a set of events transpired. One was that maybe 2 months after acquiring Charlotte, Eve looked down and realized Charlotte had a little something extra. Charlotte had testicles. We were no longer going to call Charlotte Charlotte. And so Charlotte became the cheat, which is not a reflection of anything in our relationship. This is an homage to Homestar Runner, again, as was the custom at the time for people of a certain vintage. And so Eve took care of the cheat over the years, and we kept in touch a little. We'd run into each other at weddings. We tried to figure out how to be friends, and Sometimes it worked and sometimes it was a little more distant, just life happens. And other things moved on too, right? We each started in new relationships. We tried to understand what it meant to be adult friends to each other outside of college. It hit a nice stride. At some point, the cheat moved in with Eve's parents, and I kept getting updates of this cat who I was probably never going to see again. That's one of the joys of the internet, is seeing cats that you'll never meet. And so our friendship evolved as well, right? It matured in so many different ways. For one thing, I stopped using AOL Instant Messenger because everybody moved to GChat around 2008. Speaking of Portuguese water dogs in the White House. And Eve and I found, again, just new rhythm after rhythm. And it's all progressed so far that that's 20 years in the past. Eve and I are good enough friends that we're in touch regularly. A year ago, she threw herself a birthday party in Alaska, and my lovely wife, Kelsey, whom you'll meet in a few minutes, Kelsey and I and a dozen of our college friends flew out to Eve's birthday party on her in-laws' porch. And that's the kind of thing that you just can't see happening when you're 22 years old. Now, there's something else that happened along the way, which is I picked up a new name for myself through all of this. I met a band, Add Frank and the Fast Easy Women. Don't look them up. They're very hard to find. They had a contest for the world's best ex-boyfriend. I submitted a short version of this story to them. And they MySpace messaged me back. You guys are learning a lot about my digital habits, aren't you? And they said, "Indeed, Neil Bardhan, you are the world's best ex-boyfriend. Here is a t-shirt. Your ex has a cat." And so I proudly wore that t-shirt and had to explain this over and over again every time I wore that t-shirt. That got very tiring, and now it's part of a quilt. But like I said, Eve and I have become good friends. And can I tell you for sure that acquiring the kitten for her was what it took? No, I can't be sure of that. Can I say with any certainty that I am indeed the world's best ex-boyfriend? I don't think I'm actually going to keep claiming that. But I do know that Eve and I are good friends, and I'm happy about that. Thank you so much.